I think we're at a decent number to get started, and it'll always be recorded. So we're going to share this after the fact as well, so that everyone has access to this. So to get started, this is a very special webinar that we're doing here. The focal point is how to grow your lesson business. So the idea here is, how do we leverage technology and a sales mentality to increase your student enrollment? I think this is a very, very interesting and important subject matter for music schools out there. And Sam can probably relate to this, but as a former music school owner and someone who started in this industry as a creative first, sometimes it's difficult to think on the sales side of things. And how can I leverage, emerging software and technology to think more entrepreneurially rather than just on the creative side of things? So I think you'll find a lot of value in this conversation. So on this call, as I mentioned, we have myself. My name is Rory. I'm the head of sales here at Opus1. And as always, we have our great founder and CEO, Sam. Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody knows me pretty much here, I think, but just in case. So my name is Sam. I founded and the CEO of Opus1 IO. I'm also a music school owner. I have a school called Opus1 Music Studio in Silicon Valley with my wife, who is a pianist. And over the years, I think most of you probably know our story, but over the years, we grew our school from 100 students or so when I met my wife to close to 1,200 today, and we're going on 1,500. And over the years, we tried different software, ended up, building Opus1 IO and been refining Opus1 IO over the years to help us scale our business and automate and streamline everything. So very excited to host this webinar. We've been meaning to do webinars like these for a long time, and we're finally getting to do it. So I'm super excited. So yeah, handing it back to you, Rory. I think we can get started with the agenda.
Absolutely. So the agenda for today, obviously, we just did the introduction. We're going to do a little bit about ads and digital marketing. We're not going to do a deep dive on this. We do have a webinar that we've done surrounding this issue, but we're going to touch base with it first because it's an integral part of that top of funnel, right? That lead generation. Once you get them, however, is what we're going to focus on today. What do we do with them once we get them? How can we use technology and a mindset to make sure that our marketing is being made the best of? So first, we're going to talk about reputation management and cover a few things here. What does SEO mean in 2023? How does it relate to reputation management? Yelp versus Google reviews. How do you get more reviews and how to feature your reviews? The next part is my favorite part because I'm a sales guy, so I love prospect management. So prospect management, we're going to talk about establishing a sales process, which is, I think, integral to any sales program, lead capture versus self-booking, and then the prospect funnel and the Kanban board. And then at the end, we're going to do a Q&A where we can field any questions. However, please feel free to use the chat throughout this webinar. We want to hear your questions, especially as they pertain to what we're showing, or merely to interact with one another. So with that in mind, we're going to kick it back to Sam, and he's going to get us started here.
All right, thanks, Rory. Yeah, so we wanted to do a quick touch on ads. This webinar is not going to cover this particular slide. We're just going to go through it very quickly. Actually, this is a slide that was put together by a partner of ours, Redblind Media. They're a marketing agency. They've done several webinars, and you guys probably have seen them on our Facebook group. So we're not going to cover what these guys cover already very well. Just wanted to point out the fact that ads are important. It's a great way to get paid marketing, right? It's a great way to get customers through the doors and get them to book lessons and get through the funnel that we're going to discuss, right? So I'm going to leave this link here. It's in the webinar. If you look through our Facebook group, there's several posts about webinars with Redblind Media. These guys do this very well. They cover how to identify different channels you want to spend your money on, like between Google and Facebook, etc. How to optimize your ad creatives, your landing pages, and do conversion tracking, and what they're recommending around using Google Tag Manager and things like that work very well with Opus1 IO. So we're not going to cover that today. We're going to, it's there, it's important. So I just wanted to mention it, right? But we're going to focus more on the non-paid media and how to use Opus1 IO Plus, right? How to leverage Opus1 IO Plus to do the rest, right? So we're going to get through through the next topic. So I'm going to start sharing. Here we go. So I'm going to show a lot of different things. First, on reputation management and prospect management. I want to start with something, and how do people find you, right? How do people find your school? Music schools are hyper local, right? People are not gonna drive 50 miles, 100 miles to go take their piano lessons every week, right? So most of the time they're gonna look you up through, let's say, Google search, right? It's very, very likely. I can see from my analytics from my school in Silicon Valley, a lot of people find us through Google searches. There's also some people finding us through other means like Yelp. We'll talk about that. And also Facebook, obviously. So when people look for, let's say I'm using piano lessons Mountain View, right? And we're in Mountain View, so that's what I'm using here. What do people see, right? And I want to get to the topic of SEO and why reputation management is important here. So this is what we call the search result page, right, on Google. It's an area that's actually evolving beyond this. I'll talk about that in a minute. So what do people see when they look for a piano lesson in your area? First, they're going to see ads, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4 sponsored results. So my school shows up first. We spend a lot of money on ads, and as I said, it's an important topic. We're not going to talk about it too much today, but you definitely want to have your ads there and have good marketing and good paid marketing to be featured at the top of the page. You might see your competitors, right? Obviously, and sometimes you're also competing with Thumbtack or lessons.com, other surveys that are just like mega brokers of music lessons. And the next thing, what do you see next when you start scrolling? You don't see what we used to see a lot, which are the blue links, the organic results, right? So these are paid results. And the organic results, if you look for them, they're way down, right? So you have the paid results, you have the Google places. So these are the businesses, and this is very important. I'm going to be talking about that. Then you see people also ask. So you see some Q&A, right? And then you start seeing organic results, right? And my school is there. So obviously, we pay attention to SEO. It's important. But my point here is that SEO is a lot less important than it used to be, in the sense that people will probably, look first at the ads and then look at the businesses to pick a music school and to make a call or to view their websites. And obviously here in the Mountain View area, as you can see, I have my 2 campuses, like right here at the top results, right? And why are my 2 schools here in Mountain View so well prominently, featured? Is because we have mostly because we're in the area, so that's important. Obviously, Google places are local results, right? And that's important when you're looking for music schools, because, like I said, you're going to be looking for music schools that are close to you. But also because we have great reputation, right? 5.0, 5-star, 88 reviews on one campus, 80 reviews on the other one. The next one is 11 reviews, way down. And then, of course, if you click on more places, you'll get other results, and you'll see some of our competitors, and they're way behind us. So my point here is that these places, these Google business results are very important. And how do you improve them? So there are some generic ways you can do it. Like, obviously, you want to make sure that the namings are set correctly, that all the information, the open hours, there's a lot of things you can set up in your Google business that it's important to set up correctly. And actually, I was guilty for years of not really paying attention to this. And I realized later what a big mistake that was. So you definitely want to make sure your phone numbers, all your information is consistent across all the different directories in Google and Yelp, and there's many others. And some marketing agencies can help you with that as well, to make sure that there are tools that exist that allow you to check your business in many, not just Google's, but many other directories. But also very important are the reviews, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about, reputation management, and how Opus1 PLUS can help you get more reviews and feature them and get you in this top 3 kind of like holy grail selection of schools, so that you being the first school that people see when they look for piano lessons or guitar lessons or whatever instrument you're offering. Okay, so I'm going to talk about now what you're seeing here. Obviously, are Google results, right? And Google is still, I say still because things are evolving, right? Google are huge in search, and And when people, another thing I want to say is that when people look for piano lessons, they have an intent. They have an intent of purchasing something, right? Whereas when they browsing on Facebook, they might be, chatting, watching TV, maybe even driving. They shouldn't, but they might be. So people are just scrolling on Facebook and Instagram. So those ads are still important. Want to be featured there, it helps with your brand awareness, so people get to see your logo and your school and remember you. But they don't have an intent. They don't have an intent of buying or ready to sign up. Whereas when people actually search for piano lessons Mountain View, for example, or guitar lessons Palo Alto, right? They're looking for something. They have an intent, and they're ready to click. They're ready to browse. They're ready to buy. They're ready to sign up, right? They're ready to leave their info. They're ready to move forward, right? So you have a much bigger chance of converting a customer that's looking for something than somebody just browsing around and maybe doing something else and not ready to pull out their credit card or sign up at that moment, right? So I get a lot more results from my school in Silicon Valley through Google ads and organic results, right, like these, than Facebook. But we still pay for Facebook ads because they are important in building brand awareness, at least the way I see it. So another thing that I want to point out is reputation in general is important, right? We're talking here about Google reviews, and we're going to talk about Yelp reviews as well. Reputation is important because people are going to be dropping their kids at your school, right? They want to make sure they can trust it, right? What differentiates your school versus some random teacher teaching at their house that you don't know who they are. So people want to make sure they're entrusting their child with a reputable environment and organization, right? So your reputation is important, and it's very important to get these Google reviews for many different reasons.
Yeah, as an additional note here, Sam, that I think it's important is I've spoken to so many different music schools in my career that have said things like, oh, we just grow on word of mouth. We've always done word of mouth. And I always counter with this point that this is word of mouth in 2023, right? There is no longer a water cooler talk where you're hearing about what happened this week. Everything is digitized. So I really like to put forth the idea that like Google reviews and things like Google reviews are word of mouth, in the modern world.
Yeah. Exactly, and at a scale much bigger than just the traditional old school way. So reputation is important. I think we made that point. Now let's talk a little bit about Yelp versus Google. For the longest time, I was also guilty of making that mistake. We're trying to get Yelp reviews instead of getting Google reviews, and I think Yelp is still important. I'm still on the fence on whether it's worth spending, the amount of money they charge to be featured in Yelp. So the Yelp paid marketing is an area I'm not going to cover today. I'm still on the fence myself. I do pay for it to get as many customers as I can, but I'm not sure really if the results are there. Let's say the jury is still out on that. Now, something that's very frustrating with Yelp reviews is that actually, so fundamentally, Yelp and Google have very, very different philosophies on who should be posting reviews and how business owners should deal with that. So, for example, Yelp does not want you to ask for reviews, right? And Yelp will, their philosophy, as far as I know, is people should give reviews naturally, right? And for example, if you put a kiosk in your school to ask for reviews, or if there are certain patterns that Yelp will actually actively identify and filter reviews because they think they've been, bribed for or asked for, or they may not be legitimate. So Yelp is very frustrating with that because you end up having a lot of actual legitimate positive reviews getting filtered out. And guess who stays is the angry mom that didn't get her makeup lesson and end up like posting a bad review on Yelp. And that's the one that gets featured. And it's very, very frustrating as a business owner. And there's nothing you can do about it. I even know some businesses that just don't want to be on Yelp just because of that. So there's a tendency on Yelp of getting seeing the bad reviews and those stick for some reason. They feel to Yelp more legitimate than the good reviews that sometimes just get filtered out because they happen to do it from your Wi-Fi, for example, at your school. And then they all come from the same IP, and there's different things that Yelp looks at. So Yelp can be very frustrating with reviews. You should still get some. It's important to have at least, some reviews, because there will be people looking for, at least in the Bay Area where I am, people look for music lessons through Yelp as well. Now, Google reviews are completely different, actually. If you look at their terms and conditions and some literature on the topic, actually Google encourages you to get reviews and doesn't filter them unless they obviously spam. And I've yet to see any of my reviews being filtered out by Google, but yet I had so many legitimate reviews filtered out by Yelp. Very, very frustrating. So Google, on the opposite, actually encourages you to request reviews from customers and to get reviews, right? And Google will most likely not filter them unless they're really, really like spammy and they do filter reviews. So definitely don't hire some shady business to give you fake reviews. That's not ethical nor recommended. But there's an opportunity to get plenty of reviews by just asking your customers, right? And we're going to see how Opus1 IO can help with that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense so far. Rory, did I miss any important point at this time on this topic?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, there's one, I guess, key point to touch back on what happened to old SEO, right? So it used to be like on-page SEO was the way to go. And Google has made a lot of changes in the past couple of years, especially after the pandemic happened. So the thing that really pushed this kind of directive towards reviews were that lots of businesses went under, unfortunately, during the pandemic. And Google had this conundrum on their hands, which was, well, how are we going to actually know what businesses are still open? I can't tell you how many times I looked up a restaurant during the pandemic for takeout and I thought they were open and they weren't. So Google changed their directive and said, how in the world can we have a good litmus for an active business? And that's the frequency of the reviews and also the content of the reviews. Are the reviews mentioning, oh, I had a really great piano lesson in Los Angeles with my guitar teacher, James. So Google has really changed their directive, and that's why we're seeing that change. I thought that was important to put out there.
Yeah, a very good point. Yeah, so it's a very important. So as you know, to build up on what Rory just said, and we'll talk about it as well over the next few minutes, but the content of your reviews are important, right? Because they're also being crawled and indexed by Google. So they have to be relevant. Like, just like if you're familiar with ads, you're more likely to get your ads prominently featured if the content where they point to the landing page they take people to is relevant to what they were searching for in the beginning, right? So you cannot, for example, have a landing page that talk about I don't know, dance lessons if you put it behind keywords for piano lessons, right? That's going to be Google is going to say it's a low quality ad, right? It's kind of the same thing with Google reviews, right? To make sure you show up here, it's also going to matter not just where you are, but also what kind of keywords are showing up in your search and are showing up in your reviews, right? So we'll talk about that. Yeah, so and I also want to take a step back also that says, I'm sharing here a lot of lesson learned from my school, and we're getting between 100 to 200 trials per month, right? And it's a combination of a lot of things, right? I think over the last 12 months, we've really doubled down on Google reviews, and I can really see the results, and I also, on ads and everything. So it's a lot of different things, right? But these things are all important. So let's talk about reputation management. So Opus1 IO Plus gives you tools to track those reviews across your different locations, right? So as you can see here on my demo system, I have my 3 studios. And you see, we kind of not stop entirely, but we pay less attention to Yelp, especially for our new studio here, but we get a lot more on Google. Like I said, you still want some Yelp reviews. I would still recommend to get some, but I think Google has a bigger impact. So you see, we have 88, 80, 92 reviews. And so first thing is Opus1 IO Plus helps you keep track of it, right? The old saying, you cannot improve what you don't measure, right? So you need to have those metrics there. If you don't measure them, you cannot improve them, right? So you need to have, you need to think about, how do I get more reviews? You need to be able to track it. You need to give goals to your staff, right? Your admin staff, even your teacher, to get reviews. That should be part of your, we're talking about adopting a sales mindset to grow your school. It's part of that, right? How do you get featured? How do you get more reviews, right? And that it's not just you as the owner trying to struggle getting reviews, but it involves your staff, involves your teacher, etc. And I'll give you some tips and tricks as we go. But number one, you want to track that, right? So in Opus1.io, when you have Plus, you can set up your Google and Yelp links. And our system will not only keep track of your number of reviews, but also your overall rating. And we actually also crawling that content. And we're going to be, over time, and we have a new feature that we've announced a few weeks ago, allow you to feature those reviews more prominently on your website and different properties. So it's, I'll show that in a minute, right? So first, you want to track it. And by adding also your Google and Yelp links to your location, so it looks like something like this, right? So when you update your location, you're going to have track Google reviews enabled. You can also have your Yelp link, right? And, so this is how you set it up. And sadly, I've seen customers that did subscribe to Opus1.io Plus that did not even have this on, right? They didn't know. And to be honest, it's a little bit our fault. We haven't spent a lot of time doing webinars like these to go through all this. And maybe you missed our tutorials, but yeah, very important to turn on and to set up. And we also facilitating looking up your business, your Google business, to make sure the Google ID it matches your location accurately. So what's going to happen is you're going to see your rating in your location. You're going to see it on your dashboard. And also customers, when they receive emails from Opus1.io, like the lesson reminder, the confirmation email, they're going to see your Google and Yelp link in every email that they receive. So that gives them opportunities to quickly find you and give you reviews, right?
Sam, we have a great question from Yelena about Facebook reviews.
Interesting. It's something we're considering as well. And as you see, they don't really show up here prominently when people do a Google search, but they are important, and that's something we're considering adding as well. I don't have a lot of Facebook reviews. We've had a few over the years. I'm not an expert on Facebook reviews. I would say it doesn't hurt. And it's definitely something that we're looking into adding into Opus1.io Plus in the future. Yeah, so tracking your reviews, and then how do you get more reviews, right? So like I said, for Yelp, be careful, because if you ask for Yelp reviews, and if people like give you Yelp reviews from within your studio, they might be on your Wi-Fi. So all these reviews are going to come from the same internet IP, right? And they might get filtered out, right? So it's better that people give you Yelp reviews from their home than from your studio. Whereas for Google, you can do this. We give you a QR code, and we give you actually a special link, right? So we do this for both Yelp and Google. Be careful with Yelp, like I said. But definitely, I would recommend taking this QR code that we give you for each of your locations and printing this, putting it in a nice poster at your front desk, in the waiting area, or maybe at your recitals, at your events, right, prominently, and ask people for reviews, right? And what this actually not directly a link to your Google review page. We use a little trick. It looks like this. So this is a little trick that we use, and this will allow you to try to maximize your 5-star reviews, right? So what are we doing here? We're not doing anything that's really, really complicated. We just want to make sure they're happy first, because obviously you're gonna have naturally people that are not happy, and sadly, people are unhappy or more likely to give a review spontaneously than happy people. So you want to make sure you don't get those bad, stressed out moms that didn't get their extra makeup credits and that go on to give you a bad Yelp or Google review. So first, we want to ask if they're happy or not, right? And if they're moderately unhappy or not happy at all, we actually don't take them to your Google page. So we're being a little bit sneaky here, but we do want to get their feedback. Right? We do want to improve. We do want to know why they're not happy, and we want to know. And so there's a few tricks here that we use. If they are logged in, right? So if they're an actual customer of yours and they logged in their Opus1.io because they've been canceling lessons or joining online or whatever, you will actually know who they are. But it kind of feels that it's anonymous, right? Anyway, so it's a good way to get feedback. I don't get from my school a lot of people that fill this, thank God, but I got a couple, and they were useful feedback that we took into account. And so this doesn't go to Google. It goes to you. It emails your management team, and they get that content, and that basically prevents a bad Yelp review or a bad Google review. Now, most of the time, they're going to be happy, hopefully. And when they click, I love it, which actually take them to your Google page where they can directly give you a 5-star review, hopefully, and give you some nice feedback, even add photos, right? So these are things that you definitely want, the photos, and just like any landing page, whatever, the content of that review does matter in terms of quality and relevance, right? So you definitely want to, take those links and those QR codes, put them on your website, put them on in different places in your studio, and basically feature them in a way that people can give you those reviews, right? Now, how do you get more reviews, right? Because if you just do it passively, you're not going to get a lot of reviews, at least in my experience. And I was frustrated for many years with my own admin staff because I kept telling them, hey guys, we need Google reviews and our competitors have a lot more than us. Like, why don't we get the reviews? And they were shy. They didn't feel like asking for reviews, right? So what are some of the strategies that I've used to get more reviews for my school? I shared that. So probably maybe many of you know this strategy already. That worked very well for us. We've used the Teacher Appreciation Week to ask for a bunch of reviews. We still get reviews throughout the year, but Teacher Appreciation Week is a good time. Why is it a good time? Because what I found is, or what I thought of, is that psychologically, and also for me as a customer, people are more likely to help. Like the bigger you are as a business, the less likely people like have empathy for you and want to support you, right? In general. If you're a very small school, or if you're a solo teacher, or if you're a person, people are more likely to want to support you. It's just like a human thing, right? So, and as you know, you guys know this very well as I do, is that there's a strong bond between the student and the teacher. They love their teacher, right? So Teacher Appreciation Week is the best time of the year to ask for reviews, and you want to spin it as help support your teacher, right? Because by supporting the school, you're supporting your teacher, right? And of course, supporting your local school. So you can spin that message about, help supporting your teacher. Teacher Appreciation Week, we would love it if you can give us a great review, right? So that's the first rate.
And a great thing there to add to that, Sam, is that's their opportunity to make sure they're including that wording that feeds SEO. So when they ask, hey, it would really mean a lot and really help your teacher out quite a bit if you could leave us a review and mention your guitar lessons that you're taking here with Sam. Those are the types of things that feed SEO really, really strongly. And that's a great opportunity to get them to do so.
Yeah, exactly. So another trick that I used, which is relevant to that, is, and we tried it in different flavors over the last couple of years, and this year has been like particularly effective. Because sometimes what I've seen and what I tried in the past that doesn't work very well, and we even got called out once a long time ago by an angry parent, is trying to buy reviews. Like, hey, give us a Yelp review, you get a $25 discount on your tuition. That feels a little bit icky, right? You feel like you're buying that review. It's not great, right? And so what I thought about a different way to spin this is, instead of having the parent give the business, you as a business giving the parents money, what I found is actually our teachers need the money more than our customers. Our customers, at least in my area, are very wealthy Palo Alto families and live in multi-million-dollar homes, and they don't care about the $25, right? But my teachers do. My teachers need that extra money because it's tough, especially in the Bay Area. It's tough to live on a teacher's salary. So what I found as an idea is that spin the review request, right? How you request for that review around supporting your teacher and of course your local school, and we tried that in different ways. And what we found worked very well this year is, we said, if you mention your teacher, right? So if you say something nice about your teacher gets a bonus, right? So we did that. We gave our teacher, we did that last year too, but a little bit less prominently. And this year, I'll tell you, and I'll show you at the same time, this is my school. We got, I'm just going to click on one of them, and I'll talk about this page in a minute. I think out of the 334 reviews we have for all three our location, we got 160 just in 1 week during Teacher Appreciation Week. And if you look at it, a lot of these reviews mention the teacher name, right? And of course, it helps them elaborate, as Rory mentioned. So we have the name of our teacher in some of them. And what I found is, like I said, we got a lot of reviews because people are very likely to want to support their teacher. And what we did in that case is that they mentioned their teacher, at least their first name. They don't have to have the last name, for example. And so we got, I think it cost us, you can of course decide how much money you give your teachers, but our teachers loved it, right? They didn't really ask for reviews more than they would normally do, but they got tons of reviews. They got their name mentioned. They felt proud. We had our, we had like, I think 165 review. I think more than half mentioned the teacher's name, and our teachers got a nice bonus. And to me, it's just marketing money, right? We spend that money instead of buying the review from the parents. We encourage parents to support the teacher, and the teachers got the money, so everybody's happy. We got our reviews. Parents gave their feedback and helped support their teacher, and the teachers got a little bonus instead of asking for tips or having gift cards sent given directly to the teacher. I feel like it's a win-win-win, right? So that worked very well. So yeah, so that's a trick I've used, and I know many of you have discussed this and I've used it, and it works pretty well.
Sam,
now,
can you talk a bit about how the best way for them to ask for those reviews?
Yeah. So exactly. So this is where also, and we'll talk about this. We'll get back to this in a minute. So a great way a tool to ask for reviews is you can do it individually. So we have this feature in, and I'm going to use my own school here for a second, and I'll use my daughter. So what I was saying earlier is my staff is very shy about asking for reviews, right? So I've been trying to find ways to get them to ask for more reviews, and you don't want to be constantly harassing your customers asking for reviews. But what I found is effective is when you're at the front desk and you talk to a parent and the kids are happy and they're having a good time, and then spontaneously they'll say, oh, we had a great lesson today. My kid is so excited. The recital is coming up, blah, blah, blah. This is what you want to say. You want to, as you chat with customers, you want to say, by the way, if you could help us out and help support your teacher and your school. And then we have this little review request right there in Opus1.io. So you can just say, I'm going to send you a link. You're going to get it right now on your phone, right? You can send it via email or SMS or both. Of course, you need the SMS option in Opus1.io to do this. You select which location you're at, let's say Palo Alto, and boom, you send the review request, right? So that's easy, right? You don't even have to, write it down and spin it, and we have, by the way, a template. So in the template in Opus1.io Plus, on the Marketing Plus here, you're gonna have this Google review prompt. So you can write it the way you want your staff to ask for reviews. It doesn't have to be super fancy. You can put some little emojis in it if you want to make it look nicer and cuter, and that works great, right? So now every time my staff is at the front desk chatting with parents and parents are happy, they click that little button and the parent gets an SMS on their phone, and right there and then they can give us a review. Another thing that works well is when people withdraw, and we have this withdrawal form that most schools use as well. We ask people for their feedback, right? And more often than not, they say, oh, the teacher was fantastic, Opus1 is a great school, blah, blah, blah. We love the online portal where we schedule our lessons, and we had a fantastic, and now we're withdrawing because little Tim is going to college or high school, and it stops, is done with piano. And so what I have my staff do is every time we get a very positive withdrawal form, we ask them for a review request. So we send that little review request right after, and that's for a review. So that's another good time where you can get a review, because it's one thing to get a review that says, oh, we just started lessons at XYZ school last week, and so far teacher is good, right? That's not a fantastic review. But if they say, we've been taking lessons at Opus1 Music Studio for the past 8 years, and my son is now going to Harvard, and he got accepted because he reached level 10 ABRSM exam, thanks to teacher XYZ, blah, blah. That's a much better review, right? So it's better to get a review of somebody that's been with you for many years and can show some success, can show all the benefit that those music lessons have brought to them. So yeah, so that's
Sam, we have a great question from Yelena. So they want to know, is there an automatic trigger to set up the reviews from the system to our customers? So for instance, after a trial lesson or once maybe another family member or instrument has been added to an account, or this is an additional question from me then, could there be a stopgap, like, once they've been with us for 6 months, for instance?
So there's a very good question. So you can, yes and no, and we were addressing this actually. So you can, in the confirmation email that you can set up for each service. So for your trial lessons, for example, you can add, let's say guitar trial, you can update your templates, and in the confirmation email, you can say something that if you loved your lesson, please give us a review. So you can add those review links in your templates, right? In certain templates. Also as you know, we have this trial conversion, automated conversion that we don't have to talk about, but there is a follow-up email and there's an automated conversion email. You can also ask for a review right there and say, if you had a fantastic trial and you'd like to sign up, click here. And by the way, if you want to give us a review. Now, I think a good time to ask for reviews is not right after a trial or after their first week of lesson. It's maybe within 60, 90 days that they've had a couple of months of lessons. So we're adding this in Opus1 PLUS actually. So I'm going to talk about, I'll give you a little sneak peek at the end of what's coming next. So it's not there today, but Opus1 PLUS is going to include campaigns that we can trigger automated emails to customers based on certain criteria, like a new prospect or somebody that had their trial or somebody that's been in the sleep for the last 3 months. Or so there's going to be a lot of criteria that you can use. So you'll be able to trigger these emails automatically or SMS through Opus1 PLUS. And that's the campaign management that we're going to be releasing over the next few months. In the meantime, you can definitely, through the prospect dashboard that I'm going to talk about, you can, you can batch email, batch SMS people. We're going to talk about this for prospect management in a minute. But what I've been doing so far, for my school is just go to the calendar day by day during Teacher Appreciation Week, or even teacher by teacher if you have time. You can craft, email SMSs and go to your Opus1 calendar. Let's say we're going to go to the week view. Let's do all the teachers at once for a week, and you're going to apply some filters. You guys should be familiar with this. Let's say I want to hit all the students taking guitar lessons and batch SMS from here, right? And from here you can just copy paste that review prompt and say, hey, or actually you can also use a template, right? So you can use an existing template and say we have a review request for Palo Alto right here. Insert, boom. Thank you for choosing Opus1 Music Studio. Please support your teacher, blah, blah, blah. And we even have a URL shortener, right? So you can even shorten that URL, boom, and it will keep your SMS usage down. And boom, you can batch SMS this to 100 people, 200 people, 500 people at the same time. So batch SMS and batch email are very good tools in conjunction to Opus1 PLUS to get those reviews and to target the right people, right? So I've been doing a lot of this during Teacher Appreciation Week. It's been really great, right? So we're giving you those tools to track your reviews, right? To request reviews individually or in batches like these, right? And of course, now how do you feature them, right? Where do people see those reviews, right? So if you use the Opus1 self-booking, which you should, so when people browse for a trial lesson and they pick an instrument and they look at your locations, they're going to see your reviews right there. So we're trying to feature them more and more prominently in different places, right? So everywhere we have your location, we're going to try to, over time, add those reviews so they help people make an informed decision and pick a location and see those reviews there, right? But it goes much further, right? So we've released recently, I'm going to go back here for a second. We released recently, in addition to Opus1 PLUS reputation management, this page and this is a public page, by the way. So it's your Opus1 URL /reviews. And this is basically all the reviews that we gathered for your business across all your locations, right? So this is a page you can feature on your website, and you can put a link that says, see all our reviews, and boom, here are all the reviews. People can even filter by Yelp or Google. And they can even filter by location. And of course, there's buttons to get more reviews, right? So we want to ask for reviews. You would like to review the Palo Alto studio, click here, and same trick. We want to make sure they're happy first, right? So this page is very useful to get to, and also for you just to have one place. When you have multiple locations and you want to see all your reviews in one place and see what's going on, especially when you're getting a bunch of them like we did during the Teacher Appreciation Week. It was great to see that number increase almost every hour. It was pretty cool to see. And that gives you a bird's eye view of all your reviews at once. Okay. Now it would be cool if customers, while they're browsing your website, could see those reviews, right? So you don't have to manually add some HTML and add your reviews and copy paste them on your website and things like that. So very recently, and we haven't done a lot of noise about this, and this is one of the reasons we wanted to also do this webinar. We've added what we call a review pop-up in Opus1 PLUS, right? So what does that mean is that now we don't just gather your reviews and the rating you have. We also gather the contents across your different channels, and we have this new reviews pop-up thing here that you can turn on, right? So you can basically filter the location you want. Of course, you want to turn it on. And you can click on instructions here. There's 2 steps, right? You can copy this little script tag onto your website, and we give you some pointers to Squarespace, Wix, and you can ask your webmaster to copy this on your website. And also the link, the /reviews URL that I mentioned that you want to, feature on your website in different places, right? So when you have this review pop-up, what's going to happen is that people are going to see your actual reviews literally pop up on your website while they're browsing, right? So they're going to get they're going to basically, you're going to proudly feature, your reputation to your customers while they're browsing your website. So it looks like this. There's different formats, and they're going to randomly, and these are real reviews that people left for your business. They're going to show up on your website, either just the whole rating like this, or specific reviews like these. And even there is one of them that's a carousel, so they can even see more reviews. These are all real reviews from my school. And if you look at my school's website, I'm going to refresh. And within a few seconds, you're going to see over here in the bottom corner, the review pop-up showing up, right? It's going to randomly show either one review or the carousel, or here it is, right? So people can, as they browse your website, and of course they don't want to see it, they can clear it. As they browse your website, they're going to see reviews. And it's a great way to say, okay, I'm looking at this school. Okay, let me look at their policy. Let me look at their teachers. And while I'm browsing, I'm going to see these reviews pop up like, okay, XYZ recommends this school. It looks pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and book a trial lesson. Or, oh, Jay Zhu recommends Opus1 Music Studio 5 stars. And I can even click here and see all the reviews. I'm like, wow, 333 reviews. That's great. This school looks really amazing. I'm going to sign up my kid there, right? So you can, and by the way, we did not invent the wheel here. There's other solutions that do this, but they're not integrated into Opus1 IO, right? And you can have this as part of Opus1 IO Plus. So if you're already using Opus1 IO Plus, go turn this on and set it up on your website. And if you don't go pay for an extra services, because you can have it with Opus1 IO Plus. So that's
Sam, we have some great questions before we move on to the,
go ahead,
because we're heading to the Kanban part of things. We have about 20 minutes left here, but 2 great questions. One from Melissa is, once you set up the reputation management, is it going to load in all the previous reviews in Google, or is it just the ones that happen post?
Yeah, we're constantly crawling them and adding them. So all your past reviews on your Google locations and Yelp locations will be crawled within a few hours.
And we have a great question from Tavi asking how it looks on mobile.
Yeah, so for now, because we don't want to overwhelm people, we're not showing it on mobile. So we might improve this. And the reason I was looking at how it works on my school, we have a chat pop-up. We have also another pop-up because we have a string ensemble that we're promoting right now. And it was just too many pop-ups, especially on a small screen. You also don't want to overwhelm people. So right now we're not showing them on mobile. We're still looking at a way to do it in a way that's not too intrusive. So right now it's only showing on desktop. Any other questions?
Let's see. Looks like we just had one pop in. Has anyone, well, this is kind of a general question for the group, but maybe I can prompt them to use the chat while you pull up the Kanban board. But Amy asks the community here, has anyone had experience using teacher rewards for reviews that weren't monetary? So instead of saying, here's a $25, $50, what are the other rewards that you've given? So guys, feel free to answer Amy in the chat there.
By the way, you can also use our Facebook group to discuss this, right? Our Facebook group is not really meant to do support. We prefer you guys contact us for support directly, but it's really meant to exchange those ideas about how to best use your tools and Opus1 IO Plus, Opus1 IO in general to achieve your goals and share your ideas. We get a lot of ideas and also feedback from customers through the Facebook group. So don't hesitate to start a thread there and talk about it. That's a great topic. By the way, on that topic, the way we spun it for our customers, we told them, like, if you mention your teacher, they will get a bonus. We didn't say how much or what. So instead of, because sometimes people ask us, can I give my teacher a gift card, during Teacher Appreciation Week, or a gift? So of course they're welcome to give gifts to their teachers, but we kind of said, if you want to give your teacher a gift, give us a review. You're helping supporting the school and your teacher, and they'll get more students. It's the best gift you can give them. And then of course, then we give them a little financial incentive. Okay, so we're going to switch to prospect management now. So the idea is that now you're prominently featured online. You have great ads, you have great reviews, right? And people are like signing up online, right? So first, how do they sign up? How do they get in your funnel? And how do you convert that student from just somebody browsing your website, right, to a monthly paying customer that's going to stay with you for years, right? So we're going to talk about that. So we are going to touch about prospect management, right? So the idea is that Opus1 gives you different tools to sign up those students. So obviously my philosophy is that when they're browsing your website, this is my school's website. I don't do lead capture, for example. This is something I feel strongly about, but you're welcome to do it if you like. We do have a lead capture form in Opus1 PLUS I'll talk about. But I always point people to book a lesson, or I mean, maybe they might chat with us or text us and ask some questions before they book. But I'm getting a lot of success by just, as most of you know, because most of you have watched my demos and talked with our team. So definitely, obviously, use the self-booking feature to book trials or enroll students directly by skipping the trial if you don't want to do trials. But I get between 100 to 200 trials a month for my school, and people basically are going to be finding us online and booking a trial with one of our teacher, and they can just self-book in Opus1 directly like this, right? So this is not Opus1 Plus, it's standard. I think many of you are already using this, right? Now, what's going to happen though is that so some of you might like to what I call go a little bit the old school way and offer maybe either a self-booking link or a lead capture form to get their information. So we do have a lead capture form in Opus1 Plus that is basically your URL/lead, and you can put that on your website, and people will see this is a customizable. Of course, they will see your background image, your logo, and your customizable message. And they can basically leave their information about themselves or their kids if they're signing up for their kids. And they can fill this form. This form is customizable. You can add questions like what day of the week or time of the week and the time of the day and day of the week you like, which instrument you're interested in, right? What is your musical background? How did you hear about us? All of that, right? So this is configurable now in Opus1. You can do it for both your register form and your, so under CRM, you can customize your lead capture form, right? So there's a lot of options. You can show or not the address, the gender, make it mandatory or not, add questions, multi-selection questions, and also even assign some of these answers directly to some of your custom attributes. So for example, a typical one is, how did you hear about us? How did you hear about us? And then make this link to, I don't have here, but to a custom attribute, this is basically refer, or how do they find you, right? So you can customize this, this lead capture form, and you can put it on your website. And when people fill that form, those people are going to be showing up where? In your prospect funnel, right? So actually, this is from my school. I'm going to use a test one. So here, for
Sam,
example,
we have a great question. Is the form only available in Opus Plus, or is this a general feature, the lead capture?
So there's two forms. There is the register form that people see when they actually self-booking. This one is part of Opus1. It's not an extra Opus1 Plus feature. But the lead capture form, which is slightly different, which is about just capturing the lead and not actually self-booking. So they're both customizable. The lead capture form that gathers your information and puts you in that Kanban board here as a new prospect is part of Opus1 Plus. So yeah, so when people fill out that form, they're going to show up as a new prospect. So you see these customer statuses. So this is the default setup. This is basically what I use for my school. And my funnel is pretty simple, but you can make it have more steps. You can customize these statuses, right? So we have prospect new, prospect follow-up, trial follow-up, sleep, and lost, right? So this is kind of like the journey that my customers take. So if they fill a lead capture form, or if they talk to us on the phone and we create an account for them, right? Or we create that entry, that lead in our system, they will show up as a new prospect, right? And then when you click here, you can see the history, who signed them up, if they signed up, if they filled the lead capture. You can put some notes and say, okay, I talked to John, is the dad here. So obviously the prospect is the kid, but the actual person we're talking to is the dads or the mom or the parents, right? And the account manager. So we always feature the account manager right there. So it's easy to send them an SMS from here. It's easy to know who we're talking to, even though we're talking about Amelia here was the kid, a 4-year-old kid looking for piano lessons. The account manager is the person we're talking to, the person that we're selling to, unless you're talking to an adult student, which is going to be the same person, right? So you can leave some notes, and it's important. And we're going to talk about kind of like getting into a sales mindset. You want to make sure that all these leads that are coming in, right, whether they fill the lead capture, whether they talk to you on the phone, whether they sent you an SMS, or whether they already booked a trial directly, you want to follow up on all of those, right? So Opus1 IO will give you some automation that let people self-book and even self-convert, right? So if you don't know that, you should check out our tutorials on the topic. So you can have people that just self-book directly the trial, attend their trial, and before they even leave the building, before even they talk to your front desk, they can sign up for their lessons. You can do that with Opus1 IO. You don't need Opus1 IO Plus, right? Where do you want to deal with this is you want to make sure that you don't have anybody falling through the cracks, right? Because not everybody will maybe book a trial directly. Not everybody will actually convert that trial directly. You're going to have to follow up with them, right? So you need to set up some kind of sales process, some kind of follow-up process. You need the right tools to handle that. I think many of you, that when I talk to you guys, you use different CRMs, which are great. And I'm not saying that Opus1 IO Plus is a better CRM than HubSpot or Monday.com or whatever you might be using. These are great CRM, but they're generic, right? They're not integrated into your Opus1 IO sales cycle, right? And I'll explain what that means. And you're going to have weird issues and confusion, because you're going to have to keep track both of who is the actual prospect, the kid here, Amelia, and who am I talking to? And maybe John has multiple kids, right? So, and how do you track, one contact, which is a parent, and maybe 5 or 4 or 5 different kids. So in HubSpot, you have the concept of deals and things like that. But you have to create, it's a lot of work. And those CRMs are pretty complex. For a small business, they're pretty complex to set up. In Opus1 IO, we really simplify this. We give you this view where you can have new prospects are going to be showing up here, right? As a prospect new. Those that you already qualified, and we'll talk about what that means, you can move them to prospect follow-up. And those that book a trial directly, so let's say here, Nicholas, actually, I'm going to use this example. Let's say Becky here actually booked a trial, self-booked, right? So Becky self-booked a trial with teacher Joe at Palo Alto. So I have all the history there. So when Becky booked that trial, she showed up directly on the prospect trial right here. And then what happened is when we took attendance, you can see later on we took attendance. So you see that they actually attended the trial. Then she moved automatically to trial follow-up. So she came into the funnel directly as a trial, right? And then when we took attendance, now she moved to trial follow-up. So now she had her trial, and we need to follow up with her and make sure she does sign up. Maybe she got our automated conversion prompt, but she hasn't signed up yet, right? So now you want your staff to email, SMS, call that person to make sure they actually do sign up. Maybe, you know what, maybe it's summer is around the corner, right? So maybe I'll say, I'm the admin here that's been talking to the account manager. So let's say Becky is the kid and Joel is the account manager. I can say, I spoke with Joel, or maybe I didn't get to talk to them. I just called and left a voicemail. So you want to make sure that somebody actually did follow up with them, right? So you can click here and it will leave a note that, okay, at least we called. Now, the next time we're probably going to wait till tomorrow to call them again. But now let's say I get to talk to them. I can say I spoke with Joel and they have some questions, and maybe they're going on vacation. They're not ready to sign up. They want us to get back to them in a few weeks. So you can so you can leave a note so we know what's going on this account, right, for this particular prospect. And you know that we need to follow up with them maybe sometime after the July 4th weekend when they come back from vacation or when they're ready to sign up, right? So you can set the next follow-up date, right? So I'm not going to have time to go through every single feature of the CRM and the Kanban board here, but you can tag your customers. You can follow their status. They will move through the different stages automatically as they are taking their lessons and things like that, right? From here, you can, like I said, tag people, right? So let's go back to the prospect. You can take a prospect, add a tag. So maybe I talked to them and they told us, okay, they're interested in piano and guitar. So I'm going to hashtag piano, guitar. Maybe they like Palo Alto and maybe they heard about teacher Doris. So I'm going to use these tags. And why are these tags important? Because they help you find people easily, right? So now I'm going to move Amelia to the next status. So follow up. And you see she moves here right away. And then let's say that, I send her a proposal or I send her a link. And if she signs up for her trial on her own, she's going to move directly over there as trial automatically. I don't have to move it myself, right? So this is the advantage of using an integrated CRM in Opus1 IO to get your customers even moving automatically, because there's going to be a lot of automation through Opus1, right? Through Opus1 IO. But you still want to make sure people don't fall through the cracks, right? So there are people that are going to be sometimes booking a trial, and then you know what, they may cancel it. So they're going to move automatically back to follow up. So we know we need to get them to use that credits and book their trial again, right? So we need to follow up with them. So you want to make sure your staff follows up with them and set the next follow-up date. And you can even assign, depending on how big your team is, based on the location or whatever criteria, you can assign somebody from your team. You're going to say, well, you know what, Aaron is going to be the one following up with that prospect going forward, right? And you can even put a tag and say, hey, at Aaron, please make sure, to talk to Gina, whatever the mom's name. Maybe they have some questions about our exam program, right? So you can put a comment, and your staff will receive a notification that they've been assigned to this chat, and they need to follow up because they've been mentioned here, right? Now, let's say Nicholas is ready to sign up, right? They end up calling, or they're sending an SMS. You can just take that card and drag it straight to book appointment and go ahead and book like you would, in Opus1 IO, but we already pre-filled the name of the student here, right? So now another thing you can do is that you can also navigate easily between, let's say that there's an SMS conversation. Let me pick an example that we have some SMS conversations, maybe not this one. So here, for example, if there was an SMS conversation with a customer, we have it right here, right? So you can navigate back and forth between, and you can see the last message that was sent. So we know that, let's say yesterday, somebody from our team already followed up with them, and there is an SMS conversation. I can see the last message, so it gives you an idea of what's going on with that account. And then maybe I can click to view conversation and go straight to that conversation and say, hey, are you ready to sign up, and blah, 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 and send them an SMS. So you can navigate back and forth between the SMS interface that's also integrated and the prospect management right there. So you want to keep track of every lead coming in. You want to qualify them, so understand what they're looking for. You want to make sure your staff has a process to do this. And as your prospect basically move through the funnel, obviously they're going to start as a prospect, maybe go straight to prospect trial. Then they're somebody that already had a trial, maybe, and you want to follow up with them. And then, they're ready to sign up. Maybe if they sign up on their own, they're going to move automatically out of the funnel because they're becoming a member at that point, right? Again, these statuses are simple and basic, but you can customize them, by the way. So if you don't like the way I do it, you can also label them the way you want. They're customizable. You can even reorder them if you want. This is a pretty basic, kind of like tried and simple funnel, but you can make it more complicated. You can have different prospects for group classes versus private lessons, or for different programs, et cetera, right? So another thing I want to highlight is that sometimes you're going to have people that come in for a trial. Let's say Becky came in, she's 3 years old. Maybe she's not ready for piano lessons just yet, right? Maybe her attention span is not that good yet, and she's just, running around, and parents say, well, Becky's too young, we're going to wait. Then that's fine. We're not going to move them to lost. We're going to move them to sleep, right? And this is, again, you can customize this and call it what you want. And when they're in sleep, what does that mean? That means maybe they want us to get back to them or we want to get back to them in 6 months or 12 months or whenever, when they might be ready for lessons, right? So we can say, okay, Becky is not ready for piano lessons yet. So we're going to put a note so we remember what's going on there. And we're going to remind ourselves to follow up with them in 6 months, right? There's no need to follow up with them every week at this point because they told us they're not ready, but we can give ourselves a follow-up date and make sure we don't miss it. And then when your staff logs in, they're going to say, okay, show me only the overdue prospects. So these are the ones I want to follow up with. Or maybe show me those that are assigned to me, right? So show only my prospect. So each member of your staff can start with the prospect they're assigned to. So we give you those filters. And now,
Sam, Eric has a great question about this too.
Yeah, go ahead.
And yep, and we're coming up on time too, just so you're aware of the ticker there. But a question from Eric is, will notifications only come through Opus when someone is tagged, or can they also receive an email?
So when you tag somebody, they get an email notification to be mentioned, to say that they've been mentioned. It's actually very similar to what you guys might be familiar when you put a comment here, right? So you see it's the same, right? So what we call the staff comments, when you add somebody here, it's the same comments, right? So these are the staff comments that are internal to the business, right? And they show up in the Kanban history here in the client history. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that was pretty clear. And I think this is like such a really big game changer because I feel that like one, a lot of us that own music schools started as creatives, right? So like that's the first thing we started with. A lot of us went to music school, decided to become independent teachers, and then we grew that into a business, and then we started thinking about the marketing part of things, right? But I've seen this pitfall so often that people put this huge emphasis on marketing and getting people to the front door, but they don't have something in mind for a sales process. And the analogy I always give for somebody that has a huge marketing budget but no sales team, it's like going hunting and you're putting out the bait with no trap. You might as well just be throwing your money out if you don't have a way to capture someone once you get them where you want them. So I think that's the real value add here for this.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, another analogy is like if you have a bucket, so you're spending all that marketing money to get leads, but then you don't follow up with them. So you have this bucket and it's just leaking. So, but you're not actually converting these students, right? So you need to get. It's great to get a great reputation. You want to. It's great to pay for marketing. You want to get those leads in, but you need to follow up with these leads, right? And here's something that's going to happen. Let's say sometime people want a cello lesson. Maybe you're out of cello, like maybe your cello teachers are all full, right? So you're gonna have these leads that came in for a trial, but you don't have a good time for them, and then they're dormant. And then guess what? One day you do hire a cello teacher, and you want to be like, okay, it'd be cool if I can SMS all the prospect I've had in the last few months that wanted cello lessons. So you go to your Kanban board and you just do #cello, #cello, and boom, I can see all the prospect that wanted cello lessons because I tagged them, I qualified them, I know in which state they are, and guess what? I can batch email them from here. Or I can batch SMS them from here. And maybe I don't want to batch SMS those that were lost because they told us they're not interested, but at least those that are in follow-up or those that are in sleep, it's the right time to say, hey, we have this great new cello teacher, and click here to book a trial with them, right? And get those customers re-engaged, right? So this is a very quick, and there's a lot to talk about. I haven't talked about all the features, but we're going to be building on top of this and adding more things. I want to give you, because we have only a few minutes left, I want to show you a little sneak peek of what's coming next. In addition to all of this, we're also going to be adding email marketing and SMS marketing to Opus1 PLUS. And this is still in development, so this is really a sneak peek. We have the concept of templates and campaigns coming in, and you're going to be able to create campaigns that are either ongoing or one time. And the idea is what I said earlier. You're going to be able to say, first you're going to be able to do your newsletter, right? And you can say, for example, I want to create my June newsletter. I'm going to create a new campaign. And you can schedule it when you want. You can do a mix of email and SMS. You can create a template, right? So here's the template that we use. And this is a rich email template, even nicer interface of MailChimp, for example. So you can create your newsletter and have what you would do and see what it looks like on mobile and all of that, and create rich emails directly in Opus1 And then this is where it gets very interesting, is you can actually really target the audience very, very, very specifically based on criteria. And we're adding tons of criteria. You can do, for example, the guitarist trial students in the past 30 days, right? So it looks like this. You'll have, the client active after a certain date, active clients with certain services. So very, very granular targeting based on a lot of different criteria that we have. And you'll be able to do those one-time, newsletters or marketing campaign for all your prospects based on their status, based on their tags. So very, very, very granular targeting. And then we're going to immediately after also add ongoing campaign where you can have automated emails and or SMSs in like a drip marketing fashion sent to them week after week or day after day while they're progressing through. So as you have your prospect properly tagged and properly in the right categories, they will receive emails automatically. So as long as they stay in the follow-up category, they will get maybe an email every week, right? And then maybe if they move to sleep, we send them an email every couple of months. Maybe if we move to lost, we send them an email automatically every 6 months. We don't want to harass them, but we want to show them that we're still there. So you'll be able to create these campaigns. And it's not just for prospect management. A lot of you guys have asked for a way to check in automatically with students after they signed up, like a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day check-in. A good way to get a Google review after 90 days, for example. So you're going to be able to set criteria to say, here's a campaign that sends this particular email to ask for reviews and make sure they're happy with their teacher and everything 90 days after the subscription started, right? So we have all this cool stuff coming to Opus1 PLUS that I'm very, very excited about. I hope this was useful end-to-end, including the little sneak peek at the end. We're going to be announcing a lot of cool stuff to Opus1 PLUS over the next few months that I'm really, really excited about. And we're coming up on time, so I'm going to stop here. Did I miss anything critical, Rory?
Well, we have some questions, and then
Let's
I'm
go
gonna
for
I'm
it.
gonna answer some of them too, because some of them are surrounding pricing and how this is included. But the first main question, I think everyone in the chat's clamoring to know: when can they expect to see this feature on Opus?
The email marketing.
Correct.
Yeah. So we're working hard on it. So I don't want to give a date and then miss it. But I'm hoping that within the next, let's say before the end of the summer, by end of August, I'm hoping that we have the first big milestone, which is going to be the email marketing. So being able to replace your MailChimp and your Active Campaign, Constant Contact, and do at least your one-time campaign, your targeted email campaign to your Opus1 customers directly. And then we're also building up the foundations. I'm going to be preparing to release shortly after that those ongoing campaigns. That can be very, very tricky. So there's something that we're going to be iterating on. But we're trying to have a basic version of that over the next few months. It's hard to give you an exact date, but the goal is you won't need to synchronize with MailChimp or create like drip marketing campaigns outside of Opus1.io. You'll be able to do it in Opus1.io and do it in much more granular and very precise criteria based on what lessons the student had and all of that.
So it sounds like we're like slowly becoming the one-stop shop. And that leads to the next question, actually, from Melissa. Melissa wants to know if they already have MailChimp leads, can they be moved into Opus?
Yes, yeah. I mean, so if you enable in the Opus1 Plus and you have a list of prospects, you can send us a CSV file. We'll gladly import that at no charge for you, right? So if you have a bunch of prospects outside of Opus1 and you want to import them and you're turning on Opus1 Plus, we can help you bring those prospects in. Or also if you're turning on Opus1 Plus and you have tons of prospects that were never classified correctly, we can help you kind of, clean them up essentially. But yeah, you can bring people in from MailChimp and other CRMs if you don't already have them in Opus1.
Great. And this is a really great question from Joe. Joe wants to know, are there other features that are planning to coming to Opus standard version, or are all the forthcoming additions going to be to Plus only?
No, I mean it's a mix of both, right? So we're continuously, if you see a track record for the past few years, we continuously add features in the core, so you continuously get new features in Opus1 core, but things that are really extra, things that you would usually pay for another software like an email marketing platform, an SMS platform, or a CRM, those are within Opus1 Plus, so there's extra cost for it. So we're building up the foundations. We keep adding exciting things to Opus1 core, and we're also building obviously premium features on top of that. So not everything is going to be extra features in Opus1 Plus. There are a lot of features coming in standard in Opus1.
Perfect. I think at this time the final questions are, how does this affect pricing going forward?
Yeah. So I think we have a slide. You want to switch back to the slide?
Yeah.
Obviously,
absolutely.
the pricing is also on our website. So right now, Opus1 Plus is $99 per location per month. It's on our website as well. It will increase. And right now, it includes reputation management and CRM. You will see that if you compare this to HubSpot or other CRM, those prices can really HubSpot gets very HubSpot as for example a free tier, and then the price increase like exponentially when you have 2, 3, 4, 5 users and you want a little bit more features. So we're very, very well priced regarding that. Obviously, we're not a fully featured HubSpot, but the idea is to have just enough to make it simple for you to follow up on your leads and do basic email marketing and all of that in a much easier way than you would with a more complex CRM, and not have to pay for extra CRM and keep them in sync and having things in different places, right? So CRM and reputation management are available today. We've released that actually back in December 2020, right at the end of last year, beginning of this year. We've had a lot of customers use it already. I use it for my school. It's been an invaluable tool. We're going to be adding email and SMS marketing. So the price will increase once Opus1 also includes email marketing. But we have a promotion going on though. So if you're an early adopter, so if you sign up for Opus1 Plus, we will honor the $99 per month per location through 2023. So even if in the next couple of months the price increases, it will not be increasing for you until the end of the year. But we're probably going to be soon over the next few months increase to $149 as we add the email marketing. If you add up a product like Referizer or Birdeye that does reputation management, if you add up a CRM, even a basic one, if you add up SMS and all of these features, or a MailChimp or an ActiveCount, that would be hundreds of dollars that you would pay. So the idea is to give you a nice, well-integrated set of features for a lot less money than if you pay for all these products separately, right? If you look at Referizer and all these other platforms, and give it to you in a much simpler to set up and integrated way. I think I saw a question about SMS. So SMS is a separate feature. They work well together. We have costs for SMS. We actually really have very low margin on SMS. We pay for every SMS we send and receive, right? And right now, SMS is available in the US only, and it's a separate feature. They work well together. But you can use SMS without Opus1 IO Plus, or you can use Opus1 IO Plus without SMS, or you can use both of them together, obviously. But for SMS, we offer 8,000 SMS segments per month in and out. It's a full SMS interface. If you're not familiar with it, we have a full SMS interface where you can send and receive SMSs with your customers. And also all the SMS that we send for lesson reminders will come from the same number. So you can have a full SMS experience and go back and forth, between your prospect and the SMS interface. But it's a separate feature, right? So there's also a cost separately for the SMS feature. And of course, if you need more than 8,000 SMS, we have pricing tiers. We have customers using 50,000 SMS a month. So you can definitely talk to our team, and we can give you a quote if you're going to be using a lot more than 8,000 SMS per month.
So we had one last question from Joe. I think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer it because you're kind of leading that. Is the big question is, when are we going to get SMS outside of US, and for Joe specifically in Canada?
I know, Joe, you and I talked about this before. The problem right now is that, I know you're asking about Canada, and Canada might be more doable, but we also have customers in the UK and Australia that are begging us for SMS. In the UK and Australia, SMS is like 20 times more expensive than what we have in the US. So I don't know if people are ready to pay 20 times this price. We're trying to find something more affordable and a better deal for our international customers. We're working on it. Can't promise anything. Canada should be a little bit easier, so hopefully we'll get that sooner. But we're also working to get SMS for Australia and the UK, where we have a lot of customers as well. And there's definitely some pricing challenges there. So we're trying to we want to make sure that we come up with a solution that's cost effective, and not nobody wants to pay $3,000 a month for SMS. That makes no sense, right?
Very cool. Does anyone have any lingering questions for us that we can answer here in kind of this open floor format? Because we're a little bit over time here, so we're going to wrap up very, very quickly if not. All right, fantastic. We wanted to thank you guys so much for attending. If you are members of the Facebook group, we're going to do a poll after this, and I want to get a good sense of what you guys would like to see webinars on. It may not even be specifically about Opus, right? We have a lot of collective knowledge here working at Opus, so we want to feature lots of different concepts within the music education industry. So look out for that post on Facebook within the Opus users group. We're going to be asking some questions there. If you are using Opus and have Opus Plus and have additional questions, you can reach out to any member of our team. My contact is right here on the screen, Rory at opus1.io. And of course, if you're looking to add Opus Plus as a feature, please reach out to me. We'll connect. We'll make sure it's the right fit for you, and we'll talk about all the things that you're going to get along with it.
I forgot to add one more thing is you can enable Opus1 IO Plus directly from your account, but be careful, because if you have discounts for your online location, many of you have an online location that you don't have a lot of students, or certain satellite location with only a few students. You want to contact us so we can turn it on for you, and you're not paying for extra locations you're not already using, right? So it's a per location pricing as well, right? So make sure you reach out to us. If you want to go ahead and enable it on your own, you can do it. We also have tutorials, and our knowledge base has Opus1 IO Plus tutorials and other details, but you can definitely reach out through the chat, through the support interface to enable Opus1 IO Plus and or SMS, or contact our sales team with Rory here and James to get it. And if you have any questions, we're here for you.
Thank you, everyone. We really, really appreciate you guys showing up.